All right, everyone, welcome back to Central Coast Disc Golf. This is the Innova Blue Ridge Championship at North Cove. This is round one, part two. I'm your host, Nate Perkins, joined here today with my good friend, Connor O'Reilly.
What a beautiful place to be, and what a beautiful place to watch some disc golf. We have some weather kind of pressing in on us that we're all just waiting for and hoping doesn't show up. And here's a look at that leaderboard through 9 holes. See a couple clean 5 downs and a bunch of 4s. Proctor rounding out that leaderboard there with his -3. Hopefully these players can keep the shots crisp and keep the mind even more. Here in the back,
we are at the Gorge Disc Golf Course at the North Cove Disc Golf and Leisure Club, about 2 hours northwest of Charlotte and about an hour northeast of Asheville. We are in the Catawba River Valley, and it is a beautiful setting for disc. We got back-to-back demanding par 3s here, Connor. What do you think about the 10th?
Yeah, the 10th has to be one of the biggest kind of bait holes on the course. If you have that big right-hand forehand, you feel like you can press it into that hill, or if you play maybe some kind of tricky roller, you can try to get up there. But feeling like you need to birdie this one can be kind of, like I said, it's a bit of a bait, and Ricky puts it about as good as you want to repeatably do. Steep slope. If you're anywhere short of this gap, especially on the short right side, there are hundreds of trees in your way.
And Ricky just jamming on that ride. And this is the shot I really wanted to see. Saw a couple of these work out in practice, but that's a little early from Garrett, and it is dense over there. Honestly, he's in circle 2, but it might be tough to get up and down.
100%. You can be 60 feet short right of this basket, and you can legitimately have like 120 trees in your way. There are so many tiny trees here, all just clustered together, rarely even giving you lanes through. We'll see if Garrett can even fit the disc through horizontally, or if he'll have to roll it or something.
And Calvin just taking that eagle and kind of conceding the circle 2 putt there. Jerm with a nice forehand with that boss. Let's see if he can turn this back 9 around, Connor.
Yeah, a big putt here would really kindle his round and hopefully get him going, because it was a tough front. This slope is extremely steep here too, so oh my gosh, Calvin just cashing it in. Shout out to the grounds crew. I asked them to trim some stumps on this one for cases like that, where you make a huge putt and you feel excited. You don't want to look out for the stumps and stub your toes in your Nike Freeze. You're welcome, Calvin. Oh, that one looks like it hit something and kind of caught edge. Hopefully he sat.
No. Forehand roller from inside circle 2.
Like we said, he has to go vertical with the disc, because there's just no way. And
He's done it.
Yeah.
He's pumped.
He knows how
Roller.
demoralizing missing up and down from there could be.
And just 1% of the field? Does that mean that Calvin was the only birdie? Or were there 2? I think that means it's only 1.
Yeah.
There were 150 people in the field.
Looks like we had actually 2 birdies. Mr. Freddie Mesa joining Calvin. The only birdie is on hole 10, and I'm guessing he probably did it from a long way out as well.
Calvin's putting 38% on the season from circle 2, Connor.
That is filthy. And a putt like this, I mean, that's almost borderline circle 3 as uphill as that thing is. And if he can keep putting like that, he's going to be hard to contend with, and he's going to keep finding himself contending for the win. 11 is a beautiful and fun one to throw. 375 feet. You shoot out of this gap here off the tee, kind of forcing you to play something of the straighter variety. Most players looking to go fairway driver and just hammer it flat. Let it kind of check up into this hillside, and this is a slopey green, you guys. Circle 2 putts are almost a no-go on this one, because if you miss it, the rollaways are coming, and sometimes for hundreds of feet.
Yeah, Calvin just a little early with that eagle. He's going to have circle's edge putt, but it's one of those baskets that you'd really like to be closer on.
Most mere mortals are feeling extremely scared of that putt. Let's see how Calvin's feeling.
And Ricky skates to circle's edge long, kind of back into the crosswind there. Probably the most exposed basket on the course as far as wind is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thought you might go mid here.
This is what you want out of Garrett. Just a little bit of drag to the right so you can land flat. And
That's so pretty, man. Low rock 3.
wow. Okay, so I think Ricky went trust. It looked
Okay.
like he kind of went mid-range, and I was wondering what disc that was.
And Germ stables out a little early, and he's going to have tailwind,
This is kinda
45-footer.
That no-go zone, but Germ is looking to get it going so he doesn't feel like he can just leave another stroke on the table. That's where this course can get extremely tricky.
Bang.
Speaking of tricky, we know Ricky knows how to make it happen. Your 2-time world champ cashing in there. Oh, off the band for Calvin, and he sits. Wow, that is... You rarely see a metal hit, especially a band hit that sits on this one. Calvin's just playing that kind of disc golf right now.
Garrett drops a nice hyzer putt in there.
Yeah, Garrett's had a solid round going, been really close to putting up some numbers, so let's see if he can get it rolling here on the back. And man, we saw almost 3 birdies on the challenging 11th. Yeah, there's that trust out of Rick, just hammering on the mid-range. Luckily catches a bit of that hill on the left so he doesn't slither over too far.
All right, hole 12. The signature hole out here at the gorge. This tee shot descends 30 feet from tee to fairway. Players can either throw any to the left of the first grouping of trees or kind of a low hyzer flip on the right side. You're looking to go, anywhere from 400 to 500 feet off of this tee, and then the OB just continues to shrink in around this pin. Ricky's lining up that hyzer on the right side, and
this one's massively downhill, so you can use a number of different kind of disc selections to get up there. But if you want a birdie, I feel like you got to throw that fast edge disc off the green to make sure you don't have too long of an approach as it really narrows down.
And Ricky kind of went max overstable right there, and he's going to be at the short end of the landing zone. Garrett kind of pushing the middle. Calvin's looking to get this destroyer to flip up and ride just a little bit. Gets that nose down and just hammers this disc.
Yeah, it's going to be a great spot from Calvin, and moves it left enough to where he could even put just like a touch of hyzer into the green. Germ going forehand once again, just really sticking to his strong suit, and steps up, throws that in no time, barely gives the camera time to catch it.
Off on that right side kind of closes your line a little bit. Makes you throw a turnover into the screen, and Ricky just completely getting on top of that disc, and it's a big mistake. I mean, he was, 475 into the green.
I'm wondering if Germ has some kind of injury that's keeping him from throwing more backhands, because I just don't know why he wouldn't throw a backhand on this hole off the tee. It really opens up your options, and
Yeah, I'm
helps
curious
you.
as well. Sometimes we've seen him when the confidence gets down, Connor, he loses faith in his backhand skills, and it's hard to see from the outside because we all know that he can shape any line.
Yeah, I mean, everyone thinks of him as a forehand player, but I feel he's pretty equally a two-way player when he needs to be. Obviously, he really likes the approach game with the forehand, but yeah, I know he has an amazing power backhand.
And Calvin, from just inside 400 feet, he had a little slope on the footing up here by the cart path. You can see it kind of slopes from left to right, and it kind of caused Calvin to release that eagle a little low. And he's just inside circle 2.
Yeah, another 2 feet, and he pins that one into the hillside. Can he continue his highlight streak? Oh my gosh. You can't even make it up. I feel like we're back at Texas State's right now. And this guy's just dropping it in from everywhere.
He is pushing the limits of what is possible at circle 2. I mean, he's going to be the first. He might potentially be the first player to go 50% on the season, Connor.
I felt like I was sarcastically saying we'll see if he has a chance, and then he just makes good once again. That's incredible, Calvin Heimburg. Yeah, unfortunate error there from Ricky. If you don't get enough distance off the tee and you really have to press into this green, that's where this hole gets tricky. I feel like Calvin gets it up flat, gives it the pace, and he's putting on a freaking show, you guys. You're welcome. Sitting atop that board as well. Kyle Klein and Harper Thompson just behind, and a bunch of 4s and 5s down, lingering. Coming into hole 13, we have the most demanding gap of the track. Probably about 6 feet across at the widest as you get higher, and this one's 299 feet, so very attackable range. However, you really have to be in a very specific spot to attack on the putt here. If you push it too far off on the right here, there's some little trees on the green that really block all the putting windows, so you almost have to put this one in the park zone to give yourself a guarantee.
Oh, that's just ideal flight right there. Garrett going Firebird. Calvin also going Champ Firebird here.
Oh, Calvin missing right of the gap, but he can do no wrong right now. And, you know, we're not going to count him out from that range because he has a window. Ricky going very overstable. Not quite getting it as flat as he needs, and he's going to have some scrambling to do. Oh, Jeremy catches the right side framer.
That's almost instant bogey over there. I mean, just look at the rough, but also the shape. He just has to move too far back up the hill, right to left.
Would have needed some kind of crazy forehand roller to really save that one. Ricky going dagger forehand roller.
Circle's edge right there for his par save.
Yeah, I'll kind of have some awkward footing in this little drainage run, so hopefully he can make good on that par save. Calvin switching it up to maybe the straighter or like a putter he doesn't care about as much to jam it into the rocks, I wonder. I know he usually carries the kind of more beat-in version of his KC AVRs as well as the fresh ones, and Rick just off the mark. Tough footing.
Didn't quite pop it off the fingertips there. It was online. Garrett for the lone birdie on 13.
Yeah, Garrett close enough to be able to straddle around that little tree, but if you're back on that same wall that he is, but double the distance, it gets really hard. There's some spots where you can be 20, 25 feet away on this basket and feel like you have a very low percentage chance of making it.
Garrett getting moving on this back nine.
Calvin has to position himself in the boulders, do a little climbing to get to his disc. And Jeremy checking out the damage on his putters. He doesn't look too happy. You know, Jeremy likes to tell a story with his body language as well as with his words, and he's giving it to you all today. Nice look at that Huck face from Double G. We all know Central Coast has the best B cam in the game. Always a treat to see it.
Yeah, hole 14, a little bit of a speed control hole right here. 405 feet, descending 20 feet from tee to green, and another diabolical design here. The OB is maybe 12 feet behind this basket. We're going to see a lot of putter shots, maybe a couple mid-range shots.
Diabolical is a good word for this course.
Yeah. I actually, I dropped, I was on the live MPO broadcast, Connor, in the booth with Brian, and I dropped the Andrew Diabolical Duval.
I like it. I'm a sucker for alliteration and good vocabulary usage there too, Nate.
And Garrett using the stability of that rock 3 to kind of slow him down. And
Calvin punching on the AVR X3, the beat-in, or the AVR 3 season 1. No, it's the X3 that he throws, right? Yeah, the DX. Ricky looks like he's going with that trust again. Playing a faster disc, just maybe kind of touching up on it. And, yeah, that tree might have kept him out of that hazard to the left. Hard to tell.
I haven't actually seen this line yet.
Yeah, I haven't even dreamed of that line yet. And
he's having to fly another hazard over there, and that's going to kind of take the death putt out of the equation.
Yeah, Jeremy played that one very well. He continues to play to his strengths, or at least his perceived strengths. Come on, Jeremy.
Yeah, he's really leaned on the forehand this round, and I mean, I got a feel for him at this point. I mean, he's 8 over par, Connor.
And we still have these last 4 holes, you guys, are one of those stretches where even if you're playing great, like, a lot can happen. So hopefully Jeremy can avoid some of the theatrics of the final 4. That birdie would have helped give him a little bit better headspace, but
4 in a row for Double G.
This is definitely a thrower's course, and Double G is keeping it smooth out there.
Yeah, he's kind of known for his power, but I definitely think of Garrett as a touch player.
Yeah, he has one of the most incredible combinations of power and touch. He throws some of the best high power shots that we've ever seen in the game, and then also has just the buttery touch to throw the most understable disc as well, and he can control them both. We know when he's making putts, he can compete with anybody.
Here we are, the four of the hardest holes on the tour, honestly. This is such a unique finish.
Starting with this tee shot, really hard to kind of tell where you need to be, but right of this cart path, and there's a OB line on the woods there that you have to kind of just finesse it. Ideally, you crest that little hill that we saw there and land somewhere here in the flat, inbounds, to be able to attack for a birdie. Any shots that do not land in bounds will go to a drop zone that has you at about 200 feet, chipping across this out of bounds to a tiny island. We have out of bounds maybe 12 to 15 feet long in some spots and like 16 feet short, so you got to be so pinpoint coming in on this one. And
I love this play right here.
It almost doesn't pay to not be extra aggressive on this hole. So
yeah, because we have some unique rules. No way does that jump the ditch.
Just the perfectly wrong ground play to have him slip out of bounds there. Garrett did about as good as he could and just needed to kind of get lucky on the ground play.
Yeah, there's some unique rules here on 15. So all out-of-bounds tee shots proceed to the drop zone, which is 375 feet up the fairway, and it's only 220 into the green. So whether you throw it OB 400 feet up or whether you go OB right off the tee, you all go to the same drop zone.
Yeah, and I think with that, most players understand that just being extra aggressive off this tee is going to pay off most of the time, or at least you can feel good about it. This hole should set up well for Jeremy, and this one looks great. Let's see if he can get the ground action. Oh yeah. Let's look for Jeremy to pitch up that touch AVR X3 and score a birdie here. Garrett electing for that backhand window that's right there and nearly pins it.
It's a big shot. And it's only 25 feet from front to back here, if that.
Ricky also playing the backhand window. That might show you guys it's probably the better line, but that tree
saved him.
Absolutely champ love right there. Good to see Jeremy make good on that one. Hopefully he can cash this putt and grab his first birdie of the back nine.
First birdie since hole 1.
Wow. And there you see Calvin just doesn't give it one the gusto, and checking his phone to see how this one's playing. Any shots that are in the fairway, the subsequent out of bounds do go to the second drop zone here on the green.
Yeah, first bogey of the round for Calvin.
Impressive to see him hold it off for that long, because this course just, you find them so fast out here. And as you can see, that hole averaged 0.64 over par, almost a 50% bogey rate. Bogey or worse, we should say.
And he was left side, Connor. Sticks it though. Oh, it's been a tough day.
Yeah, Jeremy just looking a little shell-shocked right now. And
the big guy.
Rightfully so.
He needs a hug.
He does.
His wife, Jules, she's taking a job with the Pro Tour, so she's not actually out here on the course like she typically is. And
yeah, if you see Big Germ today, go give him a hug. Let him know you got this, man.
We still love you. It's okay if the Gorge got the best of you.
Yeah, this one.
They got the best of most of the players.
You can't let this course define you. You can't.
I believe this course averaged 5 strokes over par, and to put it into perspective, a even par was 1027.
Incredible.
I think 4 over was 1,000 rated, which that's like Northwoods Black level right there.
100%.
And here we are on the 16th. Another diabolical green here. That hill is 18 feet left to the basket, and it's got an OB string at the bottom of it. So you have to either land this one flat, or you have to spike and stick. He's only 35 feet away. He's out of bounds, headed straight to a death putt drop zone.
Yeah, this basket, I'm 6'4", and this basket was literally the bottom of my head, or the top of my head's like right at the bottom of the basket here. Just to tell you guys how elevated this one is. And Garrett spikes in, almost gives that one the chain run. He was waiting on it. Yeah, this is a beautiful, fun hole to throw. That out of bounds line on the left is just brutally tight, though.
Yeah, crossing the Catawba for the second time during this round. Did you see that they had this basket on the bridge for
I heard that
collegiates?
They had it, on the bridge.
I couldn't believe that.
That's wild to me, yeah. And Calvin, no. It's
And
this big skip off the ground.
that's one of the controversial OBs of the course. I mean,
I agree.
I feel like you should be able to putt from right there. It's unfortunate to go straight to a drop zone, 60-foot drop zone, which we see Germ cash from. But, I mean,
It's a scary putt. And he doesn't have anything to lose at this point, so it's almost easier for a player in his position to make a putt like that than a player of Calvin's position here. Yeah, I would like to see the out of bounds line just even pulled to the top of that ridge there. Only a couple feet would make a big difference here because it's a good natural backstop. Calvin still gives it a run, and his misses right now are still incredibly close. You'll see as Garrett gets up here, this basket is taller than him. Swatting away some flies or something, I don't know. But, yeah, I was wondering how some players were even going to get their disc out of the basket on this one. Ricky makes good for birdie. And this one's right in that range, too. You can kind of choose overstable fairway. You can go with a mid-range if you want. Whatever you do, you have to come in with the perfect height. And if you're going to basketball putt, this is probably the basket to do it on. Almost as tall as one. Another look at that spiking hyzer putt from Double G that we've come to know him for. Such a unique player and so fun to watch. Speaking of unique, hole 17 definitely has its own little flair of challenge. Out of bounds with the Catawba River here on the left. Then we have a hazard area on the right, cart path and right. So if you do want to attack this one and you are going to make an error, you probably want to hang it just a little bit too straight and hang it off to the right. A lot of discs end up in the water here when the players are going for it. Garrett looks like he's just laying up.
You've really got to be feeling the drive to go for this hole. I mean, it's 450, and the green is smaller than the circle.
Yeah, maybe 18 feet left and right you have to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2 paces outside the bullseye.
So if you do lay up, you're just looking to throw 250 feet and just leave yourself with a little 200 into the green.
Yeah, all these players kind of quickly stepping up and chipping up here. That one's going to need to sit. Okay.
Calvin does have a destroyer here.
Oh, just gets a little too flat on that one. And the course is likely going to leak another bogey stroke from him. Making 3 in a row after he came out bogey free for so long. We told you guys this last 4 holes can really eat you up, and even if you're playing on the top of the mountain the way Calvin is, it can get you.
Now, I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on the Gorge disc golf course? Do you guys like seeing, tight greens like this? Do you like seeing short technical par 4s with OB everywhere? I want to hear from the fans.
Do you like seeing our players reduced to just a layup on the 17th, a no thoughts pitch up? Calvin on the metal again. This guy, as much as the course is trying to throw at him, he's still just nearly unstoppable. Ricky buries that one right on the low pole. An in-control par is going to feel just fine here. This is one of those holes that unless you're kind of tilted in your round, or unless you're just as confident as a player as Calvin, you don't feel like you really need to go for it until maybe final round if you're down 1, down 2 or something like that. the same time, though, we all know our abilities to score, and that can make it even harder to take the smart play sometimes.
All right, hole 18. It is playing as the hardest hole on the course. You can either go Annie around the first grouping of trees or Heiser out and over the river. You need 340 feet of distance to cross that OB line. And then this OB does start to pinch in right around 400 feet. But this approach to the green is why this is such a difficult par 4. There is a kind of this island with the river on both sides, but it's not all safe. They've actually strung this piece of land up, and again, it is not quite as big as the circle. And
yeah, it kind of bubbles out to the right, but that area you can see is definitely well smaller than the circle on the short and left side.
And the way that the OB rules work on this hole is there's no drop zone. It's where you were last in bounds. So if you're up on the right side on the riverbank and you're trying to hit the green, you can just keep throwing that shot over and over again.
Yeah, you pretty much will just keep pulling it back to about 280, 300 and having to try to keep going for it. I said before the tournament we would see double-digit scores on this one, and
we've seen multiple 9s. We saw an 11. We saw a 14 on this hole.
We saw 2 14s, 2 12. We saw a 12 from a player who is a competitive tour player, and I won't call him out, but he knows who he is.
And the rain held off pretty much all day, and then for this one card on the hardest hole on the course, it just dropped out of the sky.
Yeah, I was two cards ahead of these guys, and as we walked from our upshots to the green here, it just opened up on us, and luckily we were able to just kind of clean up some tap outs. But yeah, having to play the rest of this hole in the wet after just avoiding it all day just adds another layer of difficulty. Another one of those. I feel like 17, 18, 2 of those holes that, unless you're coming down the stretch final round and you really feel like you need them, probably smarter just to lay up and watch everybody else crumble around you. Garrett going with that soft rock up shot. Is he trying to go for it? Oh my gosh, he flirted with that out of bounds. I think that was probably too straight of a disc for that upshot, but we know he's got the touch.
Just a little jump putt left. And Germ still has some gaps to navigate here.
Touchy, nose up forehand.
Gets the green flag on the backside of that island.
Ricky steps up, plays quick. You know how Raincoat Rick does. And yeah, make short work of that par.
And Calvin actually has Firebird from it.
Oh my gosh. A little pinball there, and interesting misfire. Rare misfire from Calvin.
Calvin's gonna bogey the last 4. That happened so quick, man. I mean, he was 7 under par, setting the pace.
Double G turns his round around on the back here. Gonna be able to finish with a 5 down after a clean back 9. Well played, Garrett. Jeremy finishing on a prideful note, able to cash in that par. Don't worry, you don't need to keep your disc dry anymore, Jeremy. You're done for the day. We actually only saw 6 birdies on this hole. It's one of those holes that you don't really want to go for unless you're just having one of those rounds where you have no cares left. But shout out to Dominic Vasari, Hjalte Hinson, Braden Sides, Justin Rozek, Elijah Bickle, and Gannon Burr, the only player probably up there in the mix who got this one. So takes guts and skills here on the 18th. Maybe a little bit of craziness too.
Pretty enjoyable opening round here. I give a shout out to our guys at Central Coast editing into the late hours of the night. Thank you for joining me, Connor. I know you're getting out there and playing today, and I'm getting out there and working on the Disc Golf Network broadcast, and it's really a treat to host this coverage, some of the best coverage in the business.
Absolutely. Going to be a beautiful day out here at North Cove, and these players are going to be looking to keep it as clean as possible. Kyle Clean at top of the leaderboard. Wait, did I say that wrong? 7 down, though. Solid round out here. He's going to have James Proctor, Ben Calloway, and Isaac Robinson joining him for the lead card tomorrow.
And from Nate Perkins and Connor O'Reilly, we will see you tomorrow for round 2.